So Mahavir, I'll be getting married soon, right? So I have individual policy, but I don't know about family floater. So could you tell me the benefits of individual policy and family floater policy, and when should a person shift from individual to family floater?
Correct. So, individual policy is a very simple policy where there's a unit of one person being covered under the policy, and whatever coverage is available for that person, right? A family floater is a policy where multiple people can be covered in the policy with a one single coverage shared amongst all these people, right? So example ले लेते हैं कि 10 लाख रुपए का एक जन ने एक पॉलिसी खरीदी है, when it's an individual policy, obviously that only that 10 lakhs can be used by only this one person. Now there are 3 family members in that family. They buy 10 lakhs are 3 individual policies, right? Each of them can use their own policy, right? In comparison to that, let's say if they buy a floater policy which is of 30 lakh rupees, basically all pay premiums in one policy, right, and take a coverage of 30 lakhs. They all of them together can use that 30 lakhs of cover. So the pool of cover that they get for every individual is much higher,
okay,
right, in comparison to having 10 lakhs separate policy. So in this case mein, let's say someone has a claim of 15 lakhs in the first case where you are taking 10 lakh, they will only get 10 lakhs. 5 lakhs will have to be paid from his pocket. In this specific case where there is 10 lakh ki jagah pe 30 lakh ka floater and 15 lakh claim comes from one family member, the entire money will be paid by the insurance company. So the point is that because you are pooling in, you have a larger cover per member, right?
Okay.
So that is the advantage of basically having a family floater. Family floater ka premium can be as high as the premium for individual. Like individual cover, let's say, is 15,000 rupees for let's say 10 lakhs, and let's say for the matter of discussion right now, all of them are, let's say, under 40, right? All the 3 people are under 40 and they are taking a family floater cover. 15,000 आ रहा है. ये वाला भी होगा, इसका भी premium more or less will be that only. 45,000 के आसपास ही होता है. थोड़ा कम हो सकता है. Floater can be lesser because again the utilization factor comes into picture here. Like 30 lakhs as a coverage, even 3 people being covered in the same policy, the utilization of 30 lakhs is not 30 lakhs, right? How much a person, an individual person can claim in a particular year that we are talking about, let's say in 2025, is not going to be 30 lakhs. Yes. So the unit increase in premium as you increase your coverage every lakh or every 5 lakhs is not equal. It goes down because your utilization chances are lesser.
नहीं समझा,
राइट? मतलब मैं 5 लाख का कवर ले रहा हूँ, राइट? तो 5 लाख का कवर का जो प्रीमियम होगा इज लेट्स से 10,000 रुपीज.
ओके.
नाउ 10 लाख का कवर है, राइट? तो 10 लाख का कवर का प्रीमियम इज नॉट गोइंग टू बी मल्टीपल ऑफ 2, राइट? बिकॉज योर चांसेस ऑफ यूटिलाइजिंग 10 lakhs goes down. Similarly 15 lakhs goes even further down, 20 lakhs goes even further down. तो यहाँ पे आपने 10 जो लिया है उसका यूटिलाइजेशन चांसेस आर हायर, बट यहाँ पे 30 lakhs का यूटिलाइजेशन चांसेस आर लोअर. So from that perspective, the slightly premiums can be lower in case of family floater.
And also at the same time, I'm getting a higher coverage. So
exactly.
Now I'm thinking if family floater is much better in comparison to individual.
Yeah.
Is there any negative for a family floater?
Here, in case of family floater, the probability of this policy getting used is higher. 3 members and 3 members ka risk of basically getting hospitalized is getting covered in the policy. Here when I'm buying 3 separate policies and the pricing is basically factored for each of them unit wise probability mein hua hai. So that is factored separately. Right? The probability is always lower, right, for a group to basically make a claim versus an individual to make a claim.
Logical.
So that also complication comes into picture. It's not a very simple meaning math that you can calculate कि कितना premium किसका ज़्यादा आएगा कम आएगा. I have seen situations where family floater premiums can be higher also, depending on the age group of the people that you're covering, right? So it's not. It is best to do a comparison of 3 individual policies and 1 family floater, and then see the difference and try to see that you are inclined towards family floater because it will give you a larger pool.
By God forbid, if something happens with the family, right? Like they separate. What will happen to the family floater?
Yeah, so you can split. From an individual, you can merge to a family floater also. And from a family floater, you can split again into a individual policy also. It happens in cases where, let's say, there is let's say individual, then you got married, you get a merged policy, you move to a floater. from floater, then you have a kid, then you add the kid in the
Kid
floater.
also.
Your kid becomes above 25, then it's no more in the definition of the policy of a child. It has to
Okay.
be split into a separate policy. So it happens. Whenever that happens, the insurance company will split that person into an individual policy while giving that person the continuity benefits, of course.
Okay, got
Yeah.
it. So, in all situations, should we go with the family floater because it seems to be very lucrative in comparison to an individual policy?
Not really. Meaning there are certain situations where individual will work better.
Okay.
Couple of examples I'll give. So one could be where if there are 3 family members and one family member has a chronic disease, right, or which has higher probability of hospitalization, then it is better to cover that person in a separate policy, have enough cover for that person in a separate policy, and cover all the other healthy individuals in a separate policy, so that it should not happen that a slightly higher risk family member is eating away into the coverage of
Got
the other family members.
Understood.
सेम एग्जाम्पल गोज फॉर पेरेंट्स. अ लॉट ऑफ पीपल फील कि मैं मेरे पेरेंट्स को भी एक ही पॉलिसी में लेके एक बड़ा पॉलिसी बना देता हूँ, राइट. दैट अगेन इज द सेम थिंग where if you have parents in the same policy, you will basically have a situation because they are probably high risk, they will eat away into the coverage that you need, right, for your own family, and hence that could become very complicated, right.
Got it.
Hence, typically having parents' policy separate, probably parents could be a family floater if they're more or less doing well in their health for their age, and then buying a separate policy for the remaining family members who are the younger, your own family, your immediate family, which is your kid and your spouse. That could be a separate policy. There's one more reason why these should be separate is that your parents need a lesser cover because their balanced life is lesser than your balanced life. So healthcare inflation for you, the effect of healthcare inflation on the coverage that you need is going to be higher because probably 30-40 years for you and probably 20 years for them or 10 years for them.
Logical. So, Mahavir, would you recommend a age where like above that we should not go with the family floater?
Yeah, meaning typically old age. So I would say 55 and 60 onwards. You should always look at having an individual policy for your own self. If you're 55, 60 or you're buying for a parents and your parents are 55, 60, then you should buy an individual cover. If both the parents you're buying a cover together, it could be a floater if they have more or less are okay. They have equally good health or equally they are doing well. If they have health issues, then having a separate cover with a higher sum insured also makes sense. But it goes case to case. As soon as a disease becomes a factor, or a medical history becomes a factor, as soon as old age becomes a factor, then it has to be more case to case, right? Meaning, and old age with disease even further becomes case to case.
Understood. Are all the benefits with the individual policy, I'll get it in the family floater? For example, there are limitations in a health insurance policy, right? Because I'm getting a higher coverage. Doesn't the insurer put some limitations in the family floater?
In fact, it could be reversed. Like in an individual, let's say if you're buying a 5 lakh cover, right, and you are buying 3 5 lakh covers for 3 family members, right, let's say self, spouse and kid. But if you buy a 15 lakh floater, there are chances that you could get a better cover because at 15 lakhs an insurance company may probably not have a room rent limit, may not have a private room rent limit also. It may give you a better coverage. It could be reversed actually.
Okay, understood.
Yeah.
So my question is answered. Thank you, Mahavir.